This is The Sweater with Kathleen Dames. Over our 12-episode season, I will share some of my best sweater knitting techniques with you while we knit a sweater together. Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 12. I'm not even going to do 12 with my fingers. I'm just doing jazzy hands because this is the finale. This is it. This is my sweater. Yay! I love it. I am so happy with it. I hope you're happy with yours too. Wherever you are in the process, it's okay. Just a reminder that these videos on YouTube will be on there forever, or forever as long as YouTube goes. And the same goes for the audio podcast on iTunes. I have no plans to do anything different with the video and audio content. The pattern, however, has been free until now if you've been a subscriber to the newsletter. And after March 25th, it will no longer be free. You can purchase it in my Ravelry shop. If you're a new newsletter subscriber, you will receive a coupon for a discount to purchase a copy if you want to keep it in your Ravelry library or just want to have the final official version. So this is my sweater. The fabric is so smooth. That little bit of cashmere that is included in this yarn from Karen is just perfect. And I love the color. I put on my favorite spring dress for you because I feel like this should be really a springy outfit. Although most of the time I will probably wear this the way I wear most of my clothes, like jeans and t-shirt. That's really my uniform. But clearly, as you can see, you can dress it up, you can dress it down. I usually wear mine buttoned if I'm wearing it like with a dress like this, but I will often wear it unbuttoned over a t-shirt or tank top or something, just to have that flexibility. What I really love about this sweater is how light it is. I mean, this is 2 skeins of sock yarn. This is 4 pairs of socks turned into a garment. And so it's tiny. It's a small amount of yarn. And so I carry it with me everywhere. This is really like my all-season sweater. The half sleeves are just right for keeping you warm without really getting you heated up. And it makes me happy. And as you can see, I spent last night sewing on the buttons. These are from Remembrances Pottery. Natalie did a beautiful job. Again, I talked about her buttons in an earlier episode, and I just want to say, as I was sewing them on, I was again so pleased that she glazes them on both sides. I really feel like it makes a really beautiful finished product. It's really gentle on your yarn and your knitting, and I'm just incredibly happy with my buttons. And I still can't believe how perfectly the buttons from Canada match the yarn from Texas here on me in New York City. It's just, it's not quite global, but it's really amazing. And the buttons were the right size for the buttonholes. Now, if you discover that your buttons are too small for your buttonholes, one of the great things you can do is do a little whip stitch around the buttonhole and tighten it up a little. So I fell in love with a set of buttons for a different sweater, and once I sewed them on, I discovered like they fit through the buttonhole, but they were a little loose and they would come undone. So if you are having that problem, I highly recommend going back with a little more yarn and sewing around the edges of your buttonhole and tightening it up a little, so you can really make that final adjustment to make it perfect for you. If your buttons are too big, remember the episode where we talked about shanking buttons together. So if you have a big button that you love, but it won't fit through the buttonhole, sew it loosely to a smaller button that will stay in your buttonholes, and then do it like a cufflink. And the other great thing about doing it that way is that, of course, you can remove the buttons for washing. I sewed my buttons on to my sweater because I didn't find a set of buttons that worked for me for backer buttons. And that's just me. And I know that Natalie's buttons can safely be washed. I will wash my sweater regularly, but not very often. And I talked about this a little in the last episode. I just want to say again, yes, wash your sweater, like wash it after you knit it, wash it every once in a while. But remember, generally you're wearing it with something underneath it. And so you really wash it if you get something on it. Wash it if it gets stinky. Wash it, maybe every season if you wear it all the time. But, I don't wear my sweater every day. And so I really don't, it doesn't need to be washed a lot. And that's another nice thing about wool is it's a little sort of impervious to dirt and smells. So just air it out and treat it gently, treat it nicely, give it the love it deserves. If you do wad it up and put it in your purse, take it out when you get home, fold it and put it away. And then your sweater will last a really long time, which is what you want, right? So I hope you've had a great time with this. I have loved this. Thank you so much for being here, because I feel like I've gotten to know so many of you better, and I have a better understanding now of the challenges for knitters who haven't really knit sweaters. I love knitting sweaters. I have been knitting sweaters since very early in my knitting career. And so I didn't quite understand the challenges that some people have, because I just did it and I didn't stop to think that this might be hard. And I think that happens a lot with knitting. You know, if you learn early on how to use DPNs, it's not a big deal. But if you don't, then suddenly they seem so intimidating. And obviously it can be the same with sweater knitting. So I'm so grateful to everyone who came to the project and brought their questions and concerns to the table, and we talked about it, and I've learned so much. And because of that, I would really love to do a second season of the sweater. So my plan is to do another season starting in May, and we will knit a pullover this time. And it's what I'm calling the pearly pullover. And in fact, it's right here. This is the sample. I'll knit another one along with you guys as we go along. And in fact, maybe I'll put this on Jane as we're talking. So the pearly pullover looks like you actually purl everything, but it's a trick. It's all a trick. I love sharing my knitting tricks with you. So here we go. It is a raglan pullover. It's worked bottom up. You work it in the round and you work it on the knitted side. So you're just knitting round and round, tubes and tubes. Let's get this on Jane properly, huh? It doesn't have any shaping. It's just like, it'll end up being your most favorite sweatshirt. I used Madeline Tosh Pashmina for this. However, I've heard from a lot of my friends that sport weight yarns can be difficult to find. I think that may be especially true outside of the US. So what I've decided to do is to write two versions of the pattern. There'll be a pattern version in sport weight and then another in the DK weight. And that's what I'll be knitting, a DK weight sweater along with everyone over the course of the season. But it has a few little tips and tricks that I think you'll enjoy learning. And it ends up being a really nice, simple, comfy, but special sweater. It has special details like this ribbing that's at the collar, hem, and cuffs. It's a raglan yoke, which is similar to the Solstice Cardi, but I've done a special little thing so you get this nice little detail on the shoulder line. And I think it'll be really fun. So we won't start that until May. In the meantime, I'm going to share a few, I'm going to talk a little bit about designing and highlight a few of my backlist patterns for you. So you'll still hear from me every week. I'll still be on YouTube weekly and iTunes, but we won't start knitting another sweater until May. So that's our season. I can't believe it. I should have champagne and balloons and confetti, and instead I'm just going to dance around in my sweater and be really excited that I got to share all of this with you. Please keep posting your progress on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Come to the forums in my Ravelry group and share your progress there. If you have questions or concerns at any point, there is a thread for each episode. And so you may want to look through, if you're stuck on the yoke, look through the thread on the yoke, see if we've already discussed your question. If not, please answer it. Don't ever think that you are the only one with a question. Just be the brave one to ask your question, and I'm excited to answer it for you, and it'll help a lot of other people. So just remember, you're never the only one. Never. Like, I feel like just as there are many ways to solve knitting problems, there are many questions about knitting, and I'm always happy. And if I don't know the answer, I will figure it out, and that will help me be a better designer to provide better patterns for you to follow. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for participating in this adventure. I had an amazing time, and I hope you love your sweater. I hope you learned a lot and had a great time. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy knitting. Mwah. Bye. This is season 1 of the sweater, and we are knitting the Solstice Cardi together. Many thanks to Karen at Round Table Yarns, Natalie at Remembrances Pottery, Corinna at Picnic Knits, Tara Swiger and my fellow Starship captains, and you for being part of this knitting adventure. Don't forget to visit kathleendames.com/thesweater to sign up for the newsletter before March 25th and get your free copy of the Solstice Cardi pattern in the welcome email. Is it after March 25th? Purchase your copy of the Solstice Cardi from my Ravelry shop. And be sure to share your project on social media using the hashtags KDSweater and Solstice Cardi. Questions? Comments? Just want to share your progress? Visit the Kathleen Dames Design Ravelry forum for support and camaraderie. Thanks so much for joining me, and happy knitting! Here we go, a little test before we shoot season finale to see how the setup works. Ta-da! No! Jane and I are so excited! It's done, it's finished! Oh, I have a sweater, yay!